All right, boys and girls, welcome to our latest podcast. I think it's been a while since I did my last one because dude has been busy filming, editing, all kinds of things. We kind of had a session the last time with Mr. FasterLiving. Instagram, how can I say, Supremo is the word I think we're looking for. It's like... This guy is massive on Instagram. I think the last time we had a podcast, we kind of ended up talking about social media in general instead of cars as we actually planned. So, ladies and gents, welcome FasterLiving to Car Radio.
Yeah, good to be here. Good to be here in my house.
Second episode in your house. So we're going for our first ever video podcast actually, because usually I do just audio only, and today we're trying like a video podcast. Just to see how it goes. Hopefully it goes well. I mean, the audio ain't gonna be as good as if we did it obviously audio only, but it's better than nothing, right? So yeah, stop complaining. Okay, anyway, so FasterLiving. We have all kinds to talk about today. I think we got maybe about 3 topics to cover, maybe 3 cars.
Listen, I think there's going to be way more than that. I think we have like the 3 pillars that we want to cover, but man, it's been a lot happening since the big lockdown and everything going down. I think everything is waking up. There's stuff happening left, right, and center. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. The world has changed a lot in 2020, man. I mean, like, I just remember March. Everything was great, and then I remember coming back to L-Town and everything literally just changed, and it's been changed ever since.
Since you're on that subject, I think we need to address the elephant of the room, the closing of Sloane Street.
Yeah, that was so okay, for those of you guys who don't know, right? Sloane Street is a huge, how can I say, it's a meeting place. It's the mecca of course, if you love cars, we always go to Sloane Street. 100%. I probably met you on Sloane Street as well. I met loads of other people on Sloane Street. And in 2020, okay, look, there are 2 sides to this story, right? Because I put videos on YouTube where like a lot of people are siding with the residents of Sloane Street, but there are also most who are siding with the drivers on Sloane Street. So what's happening is there's been a situation where people are revving the engines unnecessarily or doing burnouts and doing all kinds of crazy stuff on Sloane Street. Now, depending on who you are, if you live there or not, or if you love cars or not, you may look at the whole situation in different ways. But I think the residents have basically had enough, and there's now an omnipresent police presence on Sloane Street where you're not allowed to park your supercar there anymore. And anyone with a camera, or a phone camera, or anything like that is asked to disperse, because they want to give you a dispersing order where you can't take photographs or film anymore on Sloane Street. So I don't know what your take on that is, but
have you seen the latest though?
There's more?
There's more news to that. No, that was just the tip of the iceberg.
No, oh my gosh.
I've seen posts that they basically turning it into taxi, bus, and pedestrian only route.
No, are you serious?
No, for real. 100%. I think I saw Famsi posting it that they were basically putting up signs saying that you can't go through there with just a vehicle. They're like, no, it's like shut down. Like it's down.
That is insane. I mean, to be honest with you, I kind of saw that. Oh my God. It's like, because I haven't been there for about 3 weeks.
Dude, don't
the last time that I was there.
Yeah.
That's crazy, because I have my own private island in Knightsbridge called Rawkus Island, and when I was there, it was actually under siege. There was literally scaffolding all around it. So this is what it means. They definitely like got rid of like Rawkus Island and turned Sloane Street into
next to Harvey Nichols.
Yeah, it is. It's right opposite. Yeah, I got 2 islands there.
I'm just trying to. I'm going online because I want to find it for real. But I've definitely seen like RIP Sloane Street everywhere around socials.
Oh no, that is the worst news I've heard like in 2020. I thought 2020 was bad. This is even worse.
Man, that took me by surprise, big time, man. I'm not gonna lie.
Imagine me right now finding out about this right now through you. I didn't know it was that bad, but I did see a lot of activity of scaffolding, like men digging the roads and stuff. There were even caravans on Sloane Street. I mean, like what the hell that never happens there. So now everything's makes sense now.
Yeah, but I think it got to a point where it was silly, right? I mean, I ain't no 6'9", so I'm not gonna say what car it was, but I'm sure you've seen people doing like donuts on fucking Sloane Street, and it's like, man, it's just like you have to understand both sides of the coin, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, technically, right? If I have to like put my sensible head on, I think like they are blaming the wrong people, because often you see supercars being blamed for all the carnage on Sloane Street, but to be honest, it's not really usually them who do all the craziness. From what I've seen with my own 2 eyes, people with their riced up cars. Is that even a legal term? Can I say riced up cars? Is that okay thing to say? Like
riced up? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how the term came around, but yeah, I think we're good.
Yeah.
I don't think we're getting cancelled just yet.
Oh yeah, just imagine a guy with a I don't know if you watch this in the USA or whatever.
You better
There's
be
a thing you
careful.
call it.
What's going to be the riced out car?
All right, let's say a Vauxhall Nova or something, right? It's guys who put giant freaking exhaust, like they buy on eBay on these like banged up cars, that think for some reason that it's actually cool to go onto Sloane Street and basically rev the pipes off these cars, like, or do burnouts. They often meet like late at night, like around 10 p.m., 11 p.m. when people are supposed to be sleeping or like getting ready for work the next day. And they are racing up and down, doing burnouts and making all kinds of noise. It's because of these idiots, I'm going to say that right now, that Sloane Street is being cancelled. No, come on, man. That's not the... This is what it is. It's because of this idiocy that's caused the problems. So because of that, now Sloane Street has been pedestrianized, where you can't casually drive your car there anymore, and they are blaming the wrong people for causing the carnage. It isn't the supercars. It is the idiots with the riced up cars causing the problems. You know who you are.
No, that's true.
Ain't gonna name any names.
That's
so
true.
yeah, that's what it is.
It sucks because it was like you're right. It was like the mecca of supercars, and and it was just the spot to be, right? It was like the rodeo drive of London.
Exactly. Now it's become like a drag strip with like just smoke. Like sometimes it's so bad you can't literally see where you're going. You can imagine if a kid runs up between the cars or something, and like the poor kid gets hit. I mean, like, that is the concern here, is safety, but also the people who live there, you gotta see from their point of view as well. Like imagine you've been working all day, you come home to your house, you wanna chill with your girl or your kids or whatever, and then there's all that stuff going on outside. Man, it's not right, man. So from that point of view, I do understand.
Oh, 100%. And I mean, Mayfair, Knightsbridge, those are very influential communities when it comes to like council and stuff like that. So all it takes is a few complaints. Because, I mean, if this was happening in, like, East London somewhere, there is no way they're shutting down the whole road just because some people complain.
Yeah.
But the kind of people that live around Sloane Street, they have a lot more pull than your usual citizen.
Well, yeah, that's true. I mean, imagine if you do live on Sloane Street, you ain't going to be poor, right? you gotta be someone of, like you say...
Money talks.
Of influence, yeah. Money talks.
Money talks.
And this... and this has been happening for years. It's not like something has been happening just in 2020. This has been happening for years and years and years. And I have actually spoken to residents there who basically have been complaining. And I have a video on YouTube that's gone viral. Actually, I was saying supercar owners were actually innocent, not all of them. In this video, there was, I think there were 2 guys in the Lamborghini Aventadors just revving the hell off their cars, man. That V12 was being punished on that day. And these ladies are complaining on camera to me about, like, why these drivers were doing what they were doing. And I guess after all these months and years, the influence has now made a difference. And yeah, Sloane is dead, people. R.I.P. Sloane Street.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll find another spot. It's not, it's not a big deal.
Belgravia Square.
Oh, man.
I think that would be the new frontier. That's what I think is going to happen. But seriously, if you got your riced up car, take it somewhere else. Don't bring it to London. We don't want to see that.
Take it to the country.
Yeah, we don't want to see that. It's like, if you want to do that, find a car park somewhere.
And the thing is, I'm the sort of person, I appreciate all builds. I appreciate people, listen, everyone loves their own car, right? So
yeah.
No one's gonna go like, oh yeah, my car's not good enough to go to London. That's bullshit, right? We're not saying that, but we're saying just like, don't drive like a fucking idiot if you do go to places like this.
Yeah, but also if you have a riced up car, just don't think because you bought an exhaust on eBay with a really big fat pipe that it sounds good. No, everybody wants to hear that. I've heard some stuff that I want to cry. I'm like, what the hell is this? You're scaring dogs and people. No one wants to hear that.
I remember a few days
Your car
ago,
might be good.
A few days ago, I was walking and I hear something that like I couldn't pin it. I was like, is this a V12? Is this a V10? Because it did sound quite nice, and I hear it just go. Like it's like really low rev range, and I was like, what is this thing? Is this like sounded like a Lambo cruising, like at a very slow speed? And I shit you not, it's a Yaris with what I guess is a hole in the exhaust, But it made like the best note you could possibly make. And it just,
Are you serious? A Yaris sounding good.
I'm pretty sure he just had like half of his exhaust missing or something. And I was like, maybe I don't know shit about cars.
Oh my God. That is, that is nuts. Yeah, I've seen some weird stuff. But now that Sloane Street is dead, I guess we have to find another. To be honest with you, right? I think the death of Sloane Street has been written for the past 5 years anyway. I mean, there comes a time when it gets a bit boring after a while, isn't it? Because it's become a bit too crowded. You have too many people on Sloane Street with iPads filming stuff. Like,
yeah, but I think the thing is, I mean, we've all been there, right? We've all been that kid with like whatever camera you have or whatever recording device you have, chasing every car you see because it's like, it's exciting, right? It's new.
But the key thing you said there is kid, right? I've seen a grown-ass man, like a full-size man, filming cars with a giant 32-inch iPad. I mean, that is not... Hey, that's hilarious.
I'm not being ageist, but yeah, the scene has changed since... Yeah. I mean, I'm not an OG or anything, but I've been, I've been in the game for a little bit. And I remember when, like, back in 2009, so 2010... You go around Sloane,
dude, that's OG.
Like one, maybe two people taking pictures, and everyone's looking at you like you're a weirdo. Because back then, I don't think I was even cosplaying. I would just pull out my phone and just try to take a picture. And then I think, man, like last year, I think I was going past. I was going from work, and I see a Chiron driving, and man, like 50 kids, just like this zombie horde behind them. Like in the street, oncoming traffic, doesn't matter. They just like swarming. Oh man. And I was like, yeah, the game has definitely changed. But hey, hopefully this leads to something new, something exciting, a bit of a shake up in the game. But we'll see.
What does this mean though? I mean, like, where do you see the game going after this? Like, after Sloane Street, I guess you can always go somewhere else, right? But
to be honest, I just see it going the route of like private meets.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you've seen owners like, like Rana and stuff like that. They just kind of meet up. They go for more of a countryside cruise. They go to a nice restaurant. They park there. They take their pictures there. There's no outside people.
Yeah.
No one's gonna get to a restaurant somewhere in the middle of countryside in the space of like 20 minutes. So they can nicely, park their cars, take their pictures, do their Instagram stuff, and it's all cool, right? They don't get swarmed.
Yeah.
And I think that makes sense, right? You can be with the people you want to be with, like, it's a select few that you invite, and it's cool, right? It's not a mess.
Yeah.
And then if you want to do a big ride outs, you got you got your gumballs and things like that. So
yeah, I mean that definitely makes sense, I guess. But I guess it's the end for the guy with an iPad or a phone. But it's kind of sad for the kids though, because most of these kids want to see, like, how I got introduced to this whole scene was seeing these cars in that space on Sloane Street as well. But now because of this,
I think that's a big negative, right? I mean, if you're coming from, I don't know, Manchester or Birmingham or Leicester, and you're planning this trip to London for so long, you need a spot where you're like, okay, it's a guarantee I'm going to see a nice car. And Sloane Street was that spot, right? It's like you go to Sloane Street, you stand there for 10 minutes, you will see something.
Yeah.
Like eventually something will come around. And if you go there like Saturday night, you're going to see everything. Yeah. And now that's kind of going to disappear. And it's like, yeah, you're still going to be able to walk around like the Golden Triangle, and you're still going to be able to see, cars at the Dorchester and all these other hotels and some of these nice showrooms. But it's like, yeah, it sucks that we're losing that one spot that was like the hub.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a shame, but things change, things evolve. You gotta roll with the times. So RIP Sloane Street, and I feel like I gotta go there today at some point and just like reminisce and see what's happening to my island.
You have to fact check. We don't want to have a fake news moment here, but I'm pretty sure I'm not making a fuss over nothing.
Yeah, no,
I feel like we need to move on because knowing us, we're gonna be reminiscing for an hour and a half, and next thing you know, we're done.
exactly. So now that you're talking about like like rumors and stuff like that, let's get on to the next big rumor that I heard yesterday. So I had a DM from a fellow follower on Instagram saying, Rawkus, what do you think about the fact that Bugatti is being sold to Rimac? I was like, huh? What are you talking about? So obviously I get onto Google, I'm like checking everything. And it turns out that the VW group, who own like a whole bunch of other brands, like Ducati, obviously Lamborghini, Seat, Porsche, is in talks with Rimac about selling Bugatti to them. Like, I'm like, what the hell is going on there? Did you hear about this?
Yeah, so I've heard, and I think, don't quote me on that, I think Porsche owns around 10 to 15% of Rimac. So obviously
it's now 49%. Yeah.
How much is it?
It's 49% now.
They must have upped it then. That's
so this is what happened, right? Yeah. It's a very curious thing, right? Because it's kind of like the VW group buying, like, because Porsche is part of the VW group. It's kind of interesting that Porsche is the one buying the stake in Rimac instead of the VW group itself.
Yeah, but I think that's just from the side that makes it probably easier to manage. Because Volkswagen is like, okay, our performance goes to, like, you know, let's say our EV performance side of the company goes to Porsche. And then we give Rimac to Porsche to help them with their EV efforts. Obviously, they still control the whole thing, but I think it just makes it a little easier to manage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about the whole Bugatti acquisition thing. I don't know how what's their plan on that. Is it of like getting into like the super luxury hypercar market, or what's the game?
The way that I see is that I think probably it's Porsche, because Porsche is the luxury end of the VW group, really is when you think about it, because Porsche is about racing, sportiness and all that kind of stuff as well. And the fact that it already had a 15% stake in Rimac probably just made more sense for it to go down and increase that stake to 49%. But I think the main reason for this is because if you look in the recent years, there's been like a massive increase in amount of new cars coming out. Like, because Lotus, for example, right, used to make, you know, like affordable, fun to drive little cars, like, but now Lotus has like got into the whole luxury, like hypercar market as well, and they're all electric. And then you have obviously you have a Rimac who make high performance electric, like, you know, hypercars as well. You have Pininfarina, who's recently entered the game as well. Yeah. So obviously Bugatti is thinking, we made this market. We're still relevant now, but we haven't got the tech to make or to compete with these cars. And it also turns out that Porsche actually used electric tech from Rimac to make the Taycan in the first place. Yeah. So I guess instead of developing the tech in-house, which is going to cost more money or maybe take more time, it probably just made sense for VW to say, you know what, it's better for us to jettison or sell Bugatti to Rimac than to try and do things themselves. But also, I think it is something to do with the new European regulations, the 95 grams of CO2 per kilometer, wherever it is. I think Bugatti, the W16 engine, they don't sell that many cars. They only sold like 82 cars last year, but the engine size, there's no electrification in it whatsoever. I guess that sort of counts against the 95 grams cap. I don't know, but it just seems really curious that this is actually happening.
Yeah, the thing is, though, that leaves me with a very interesting question. It's like, how does Volkswagen see Lamborghini and the future of Lamborghini?
Oh, you know what? I can't believe you just said that. That's literally what I was going to say next. I was thinking about this last night. So,
if you're buying a brand like Rimac, right? Yeah. Let's say if you're buying it from a performance standpoint, right? You wanna up your EV performance. Because obviously, like Volkswagen has been very invested into EV with like the Taycan and stuff. They're really trying to change the game and sort of fight the battle against Tesla with like the upcoming Roadster and stuff. But then you have a brand under your umbrella that's linked with like incredibly fast supercars, right? You have Lamborghini. Yeah. And I feel like Lamborghini has very much been put on a back burner by Volkswagen. I mean, they releasing these like weird one-offs and all these special editions, but realistically they haven't updated the Aventador chassis in a while, right? Yeah, it's all still being built on the Aventador chassis. And man, that just leaves me with a very weird feeling in my stomach that Volkswagen doesn't want to invest too much money into Lamborghini as a brand.
I think it comes down to money, though. I'll be quite curious to know what the breakdown of earnings are from Lamborghini or Bugatti, Ducati, like Seat. I guess volume sales makes more sense for them because obviously selling Seats and VW Golfs, they sell way more of these than they do, like, say, Bugattis, for example.
Yeah.
So from what I know, when they bought Ducati, wow. When they bought Bugatti back in 1998, I think that's like 22 years ago.
Yeah.
The Veyron, when it came out, they were selling them at like a loss. Yeah, I remember. I think it cost £5 million to make one, but they're selling them for way less than that. So is that still the case in 2020 though? That's the thing. Because if they're selling them at a loss, then it makes sense for them to sell it off.
For the Chiron?
Yeah.
No, I think they make money on the Chiron, I believe.
Yeah.
Again, don't quote me on that. I'm not speaking very factually, but I think they make money on the Chiron. But when you think about it, they definitely sell more Porsches than Lambos. Like that's a fact, right? Because it's a more affordable option of a supercar, I guess, or a high-end sports car.
Yeah.
And I think they definitely invested a lot more money into the Porsche range. Because when you think about the Lamborghini, you have your Aventador and the variations of the Aventador. You have the Huracan, the variations of the Huracan, and then you have the Urus. I think that's pretty much it, right?
Yeah.
It's like, realistically, it's 3 models. And then when you think about the Porsche, I mean, you have everything from like the Cayman, which is more, the Cayenne, which is more like, your typical passenger car, to stuff like the GT2 RS, which is like the hardcore sports cars or supercars, I should say. So, man, I think they're definitely banking a lot more on Porsche, but it is closer to their heart, right? Because when you think about Porsche is OG VW group. Whereas something like a Lamborghini is just something they acquired, right?
So this is scary though, because I don't want Lamborghini to die. The thing is though, I cannot, because the way the world is going is everything is going electric, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Like a V12 dying, a Lamborghini without a V12 is a very strange proposition. I mean,
you saw what Mercedes did to the V8, right?
Yeah.
and that's the thing. And V8 was always associated with like high-end Mercedes, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, they had their V12s too, I believe, but it's the V8 that made the AMG what AMG was. And now you see it being downsized more and more and more. And I think eventually everything's going to run on small engine hybrids, if not fully electric. And it's a depressing topic, right? But it is what it is.
So the thing is, in a way, I'm kind of excited, but in a way, I'm kind of sad because some cars, it makes sense for them to be electric. I don't know, the Lotus Evija, like electric, makes sense. Yeah. But a Lamborghini, because of how we're used to it as a brand, it's noise. It's like that noise is like to replace that with the sound of a vacuum cleaner, it does not make sense. Like the Porsche Taycan, I'm cool with it. The fact that it's electric, it actually sounds okay. Yeah, even though the sound is fake.
That sci-fi kind of sound, right? It's very futuristic. Yeah, man, I agree. I think naturally aspirated engines and stuff like that is just going to become a very much like a hobby thing. So you're going to have collectors with like Aventadors in their garage and stuff like that, and Huracans. But I think it's going to come to, in about, 20, 30 years where you're not going to be able to just take it out and drive it around London. It's going to be.
Do you think that long? I think it'd be sooner than that.
Yeah, it could even be sooner, man. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to have to take it to the track, or you're going to have to take to these like specialist kind of driving ranges where you can basically enjoy your car. Because I think eventually they're just going to ban all the fossil fuel sort of driven cars. I think that's where we're definitely heading. I mean, in London, especially, I don't know about the rest of the world. I think, so the less developed countries, I think it's going to be a long way before they, a long time before they actually do that. But I think London is very much trying to like lead the way with like the current leadership. I mean, you see the ULEZ charge that came in. So for those people that are watching that don't know about ULEZ, it's a charge that basically there's an area in central London where if your car is a diesel and is older than a certain year, you get charged like I think it's like £24 just to enter central London. So it's,
oh man,
they're basically trying to get rid of like inefficient sort of, you know, diesels and all the petrol cars as well.
Yeah.
Which, man, I mean, it is what it is. But going back to Rimac, I mean, the technology that they have is insane. I mean, I'm pretty sure they made the battery systems for the Regera.
Yeah, they did. So a lot of the electric cars out there today, like, owe a lot to Rimac, because they actually buy a lot of the engine management systems, the drive systems from Rimac.
Yeah, and that's what people don't realize. People are like, oh, how can Rimac afford Bugatti? They only have like Concept 1 and Concept 2. I'm like, no, they're a big B2B kind of manufacturer, right? They provide a lot of businesses with a lot of systems, and those systems don't come cheap.
Yeah.
And they're not Tesla. They don't give away their patents for free. So they also, I think, he also sold patents to different companies and things like that. And I haven't looked into their financials, but I'm sure they got a lot of money in the bank.
Yeah.
But
and I guess a lot of investors too, isn't it? Because a lot of investors can see where they're going with this tech, isn't it? So there can be a small company, but with a lot of investors on board, you can do a lot of big things. So it's interesting. I mean, Bugatti is there's a heritage.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say Bugatti has a heritage. I think is it 1902, 1909 when they were formed? A very, very long time ago.
I mean,
so like, it made sense for VW Group to buy them because obviously of what kind of company they are. Rimac, not too many people outside the automotive space know who Rimac actually is when you think about it. We know because obviously like what we're into, but a lot of people have no idea who or what Rimac is.
So I think that leads nicely to how I found out about Rimac in the first place. There were articles around, 2012.
Yeah.
Basically, there was this guy in like Croatia that had a BMW E30 drift car.
Yeah.
And he turned it into like full EV car, and it started breaking like records left, right, and center. I think he had an E30 that could do like 0 to 16 like 3.3 seconds, and it had like 170 mile an hour top speed, being like fully electric. And that was actually the first car that Rimac, I believe, built as part of like his brand, right?
Yeah.
And then since then he started like getting investors and stuff like that, and eventually I think it sort of snowballed into the Concept 1, which was
so interesting, isn't it? Like
an amazing car. It shows you, like, I think it really gives hope to like young entrepreneurs and young engineers in the space, right? I mean, you look at companies like Koenigsegg, where Christian basically said, you know, I want to build a sports car company. I want to build a supercar company. And people like, bro, you're in Sweden. You have no links to the world. Like, you're not part of like anything to do with Ferrari. You're not linked to Lamborghini, to Porsche. He's like, no, I'll just do my own thing.
Yeah.
And this guy built like, you know, a hypercar destroyer of a car with like the Agera, for example. It's insane.
Dude, oh man, like Christian, for me, right? He's up there with like he's like the Steve Jobs of the automotive industry, I think. Like when I met him at Goodwood, it was like just talking to this guy. It's like he's so normal. Like you'd think he'd be like up his own backside, whatever. He's nothing like that. He's such a normal guy. Will talk to you like a normal person. But then you realize, because when I was speaking to him, I realized like what he'd achieved in his life. Like I could see the Regera. I could see I'm talking to the guy. And I'm like, this is incredible. He's to still be so humbled, but to have done something like that is an amazing story in itself.
So what you're saying is that you were surprised that a hypercar manufacturer was speaking humbly to the Prince of Zamunda. Listen, that's the law. Listen.
That is hilarious. You know what? I'll accept that. I think like, the way that I was dressed, maybe that's probably what.
Humble. He was like, "Hey, this guy's royalty. I gotta be careful in case he wants to buy like 3 or 4 of my cars."
Oh my god, that is so funny. But you know, the most painful part of the story is the fact that the actual video was like 20 minutes long, but yeah, it got lost. I mean, there's a whole video on YouTube about, it was bad. Like I made a video on YouTube basically explaining what happened. Dude, it was so painful. That's when you learn back up, and back up some more.
Man, I don't even film like the way you film, right? I'm just.
Oh man, yeah, it was bad.
And those moments are never nice. When you lose footage, it's like the worst.
Yeah,
it's the worst feeling you can have, and especially
that was a one video.
But the thing is, now you have an excuse to reach for that goal of like having a legit interview with him, right?
Yeah,
like
exactly. That's exactly my mentality right now. I'm gonna go to that factory. I'm gonna sit down with Christian, and we're gonna have a proper like talk about this, because he'll remember that conversation, because it was such a cool like thing. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm chatting to Mr. Christian von Koenigsegg, the visionary. And that for me was up there with one of the best interviews I've ever done.
Listen, we're putting it out there in the universe, right?
It's gonna be done.
Manifested. So now when you do that interview, I want this to be played as an intro. Of you saying like, yeah, I want to have an interview with him.
Hell yeah, that will be done. I cannot wait for that day. But man, it's like, Christian for me is he's crazy. No one gave him a chance. Like investors were like, you're crazy. Like he said, he's in Sweden. You know, what do you know about cars? Who the hell are you? You got an affiliation with Ferrari, Lamborghini, all these like established brands. I mean, you could say the same thing about what's his name? Mr. Pagani as well. I mean, in the beginning, no one gave him a chance and everything, and he had to leave Lamborghini because they didn't believe in his vision of carbon fiber chassis and all that kind of stuff as well. So it seems like we have a few mavericks in the car scene, and it'll be interesting to see what happens in the next few years. I mean, imagine if a Lamborghini was to disappear, for example. I mean, I cannot. I'll probably stop breathing if a Lamborghini stopped to exist. I can't imagine a world without Lamborghini.
Let's not talk about that, because I'm the same.
Can't.
I mean, like, I don't know if you can see my mug, but my mug is like.
Oh my gosh! Hey.
So I'm super into my Lamborghinis, and I think it's a great brand. But going back to
absolutely.
About Koenigsegg and Pagani, I think it's funny what, like, I wouldn't say revenge, but it's funny what like rejection does, right? I mean, we all know the story of how Lamborghini was born out of basically Ferruccio going to Mr. Ferrari and being like, hey, this car sucks. And he's going like, hey, what you know about cars? He makes tractors. He's like, okay.
Yeah, if you don't like it.
Watch. And now he's saying the same about like Pagani, obviously, and then he built some great cars. You know, the Zonda. I mean, it's a masterpiece.
Yeah,
100%. And I think that the thing about like the Zonda and the Huayra, I remember the first time I went inside a Huayra. Basically, I was at Romans, and they just bought one basically to sell. And one of my friends who works there, his name's Christian. He was like, hey, we just got his Huayra. Do you want to go like inside? And man, boy. You go inside and it feels like it just doesn't feel like you're in the car. You feel like you're having some kind of it's an experience, right? That interior does not feel like any car. It just feels like completely bespoke one-on-one kind of thing. You know, you have the exposed shifter when you can see all the mechanics of it, and it's phenomenal. But that's why I don't think I like him as much as Koenigsegg, because I feel like it's an art piece. It's almost like I wouldn't want to drive it too much.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like when I was inside a Koenigsegg, it's like everything here is made to go fast.
Yeah.
Like this thing just goes fast. And I loved it. I think the Koenigsegg interior, obviously, you would not compare to Pagani, because it's just
they're different animals, isn't it? They're completely different animals.
It's not even comparable. But I remember when I fell in love with Koenigsegg, like as a brand, is have you seen Need for Speed, the movie?
Yeah.
So that scene where they go into like Dino's uncle's place, and you have the garages like next to one another. Yeah. And he's like, yeah, my uncle just imported these Koenigsegg's from Europe. They're not even legal in the States. And the shutters start going up, and you see these three Agaras, and I was just like, oh my God. And then they like race them. And it was just like amazing the way they look on the road, although they did use all replica cars. So in Need for Speed, I think every car that was used for like the actual driving shots was a replica. So they built
that spoils the movie for me now. It's like
they built these like 600, 700 horsepower fiberglass replicas. Basically, they were insanely fast, so they would definitely have to film those scenes. But yeah, they were replicas because obviously they couldn't risk like the final race. You know, you had like a Sloane, you had the WRC Veyron, you had the Renault, and it's just too much of a risk.
Yeah.
And obviously in the scenes where they had to wreck these cars, they couldn't use the real thing either.
Yeah.
So
I couldn't see that. That's a lot of money.
When they wreck, it's just like all you see exploding is like fiberglass and like tubes of kind of metal chassis. Because that's essentially how they were built, and then they dubbed the audio into the movie. But I love that film. I think it's the way they filmed cars in that film was so good that they managed to make a Mustang look amazing.
Yeah, cinematography, man. That's like if you know what you did behind the camera, you can do like a lot of amazing things. I mean, seriously,
and one thing about that movie, if you go over it again, none of the cars in that movie are ever dirty. Like you even see those countryside races that they have, they are so clean,
pristine.
Yeah, like, and I love that. I think whoever was in charge of like picking cars for that movie was a real car guy, right? And it shows.
Yeah, I mean the cars were so fast and the dirt didn't even have time to stick on them. That's what it is, isn't it? The cars are too quick for dirt, man.
But yeah, I love that movie. What's your like go-to car movie?
Oh my gosh! I have a few, right? It's gonna like make you think like, what the hell is he talking about?
Okay.
Have you seen like Heat with Al Pacino and Robert De Niro?
I have seen it. Yeah.
See, I love that movie because of the chase scene, man. I don't know what's about France and the car chase scenes.
With like a 5 series. So I'm just trying to.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is the one with the 5 series. Exactly that. Because they're like drive through Paris. Yeah. Oh my gosh. The way that was filmed, it was it's not even a hypercar or a supercar or anything like that, but I got hooked on how it was filmed.
See, that's not the movie I'm thinking of. I don't think it's Heat. It was with Robert De Niro, and it did have
and Al Pacino.
Car cheat. Robert De Niro movies. I'm gonna find you the exact movie that I'm talking about, because it was an old movie that he did.
Yeah, there was definitely a 5 series in that, and it's like and just the way that it was being driven around the streets of Paris, I was like, what is going on here? So that's one movie. And what movie is there? What's that one? The Italian Job. That movie made me fall in love with minis. It's such a weird movie, right? But for me, it's about how the scenes were filmed and how that made me feel at that time.
I found the movie that I was talking about. So if you have time, the movie is called Ronin.
Yes, there's that one as well. Yes.
So in Ronin, there's a car chase scene where they have like a 5 series and I don't know what it is, like a Citroen or something. That car chase scene is one of the greatest of all time. It is insane, right? It's so good, and I love those car chases. That's why Bullet is counted as one of the best car chases of all time. It's because it's realistic.
The Mustang. I got a
it's
DVD,
something
man.
that could happen, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you look at these like Fast and Furious car chases, and they're like, you can tell it's nonsense. Like that would never happen in real life. Whereas like, you want a car chase where you're like, oh my god, he might actually catch him. Like there's a thrill.
Yeah.
There's some kind of thrill. I mean, you'd be surprised by my choice of my favorite car movie, though. I think.
Go on then.
I'm gonna lead you on in a very weird way. It's with Nicolas Cage.
Gone in 60 seconds.
Yes, sir.
Oh yes. It's all about the Mustang again, right? That is cool. That's another cool one as well.
And that
my favorite part was that with the police helicopter. I think, what did he say? He's gone. Oh, so I remember that scene.
He goes into the LA River.
Exactly. Yeah.
And the helicopter pilot is like 100, 140, 160. He's going, and he's gone.
Yeah, exactly that.
He had the nitrous button, right? And he would flick the gear stick, and there was a button that said "Go, baby, go." And just, I mean,
that was a cool movie, and I love the sound as well of like, because in most like chase scenes, you just hear like the car, maybe the traffic, you just this, but in this one, you get to hear actually what the engine was doing.
And it's just, it has so many cool little scenes, like when he's driving in reverse. And he's and he's like, hey. I think.
That was a dope movie. Nicolas Cage, man, that guy, he did a lot of like interestingly cool action movies.
I think Nick Cage could have been one of the greatest of all time if he didn't go like so quickly downhill with like, these
he was a wild man.
But yeah, going back to Going 60 Seconds, I mean, it has some of the most beautiful cars in existence in that movie.
Yeah.
Because the way, when it came out, you're thinking about, it's like those 90s kind of supercars, right?
Yeah.
So you're talking about the old school Ferraris and the kind of, I think they had like a Countach in that movie. It's just, yeah,
it's mental,
I loved it. It was a proper car movie. And I think that movie single-handedly skyrocketed the value of the fastback Mustangs.
Yeah, those are so cool. Whenever you see one of those, just like, that's the movie you think of when you see like a fastback, Stang.
Oh man, it's the Eleanor is insane. And those original hero cars from the movie went for some crazy money.
Yeah,
like millions. And even the replicas now are very expensive. But I think they have some kind of copyright on the name Eleanor for cars.
Really?
Yeah, so there was a guy who was building an Eleanor replica essentially, and he called it Eleanor, and then he got into a lot of trouble. He had to stop the whole build and everything. I'm going to try to find that story, but it was a big thing.
That is.
okay.
Protect the Eleanor, man.
Okay, so it's on The Drive. There's an article saying YouTuber's 2015 Ford Mustang Eleanor Tribute built seized by Gone in 60 Seconds trademark holder. That is insane. So basically, he was building a tribute car, and there's a company called Eleanor Licensing LLC that basically made him stop the build. And they're like,
that's insane.
Which is mad. Purely because I think maybe the bodywork matched and things like that. I don't know, but it's a crazy story. For real.
I mean, I can see that, like how that can be obviously a litigation issue. So yeah, that probably makes sense. Even though for us it's like, what the hell? But you know, you gotta protect your thing, innit? So
it sucks though, yeah, big time.
Yeah. Oh, no, so thank you very much, and check out my Instagram. Check it out. It's FasterLiving.com as well, isn't it? Your website.
Yeah, but it's under maintenance now because we're gonna be launching a whole new platform. So.
Something cool is coming.
Yeah, at the moment.
And I'm sure we can talk about it like another time, like maybe in a podcast or something when you're close to launching it or something like that.
When that's all ready to go, because now it's all covered in scaffolding.
I be like Sloane Street right now. Oh god damn it.
Like Sloane Street. It's gonna be awesome, bro.
Oh man. Yeah, thank you so much, man, and have an amazing day out there. Tell your girlfriend, look, I only borrowed you for an hour and a half, okay? You're hers for the whole day now, all right? So
I'll say hi to you.
Thanks a lot, bro.
Appreciate it.
Take it easy. Peace out from Zamunda TV Tower.